Today I'm going to be showing you how to record crisp and higher quality exhaust and engine audio on your car, or if you're filming a client's car. For those of you who don't know, I am Jonesy from the Jonesy Express, and I also run my own media agency, TJ Media, and in my spare time I make films. Because as we know, whether you're a content creator or a consumer of content, is you can forgive bad lighting, bad video quality or cinematography, but you can't forgive bad audio. So today I'll be using my R34 Skyline, which is very loud. It's got external gate, aftermarket exhaust, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be the true test of how you can deal and work with loud cars and engines. Anyway, let's get to it. Alright, what you're going to need is an external audio recorder. Brand or model does not matter, as long as it has two XLR inputs and audio gain control, so you can adjust the gain depending on how quiet or loud the car is. The microphones you will use with that are Rode M5 paired mics. They are condenser microphones and have a larger diaphragm compared to what I'm using here, which is a lav mic. You can use these to record audio, but because the diaphragm is small, it's going to peak very quickly. To connect them, you will need two 3-meter XLR male to female cables. Now, I'm the kind of person where I like to have spares, so I have about 50 other lots, but get 2 at minimum, get 3 if you're feeling generous with spending your money, but 2 is all you need. To put on your microphones, you will need 2 fur wind protectors. Again, I got 3 as a spare because you never know one's gonna blow off, and that's the last thing you want on a job, is one blowing off, you don't have a spare and you can't record your audio. To mount the microphones and your external recorder inside the car, which I'll show you later, you will need 2 150mm suction mounts, which you will use to mount the microphone near the exhaust, and your external recorder inside the car so you can control the gain as you're driving. However, if you're sitting in the car, you can just hold it and with the sound effects, of course. And finally, painter's tape. The reason why I say painter's tape is it does not leave behind a sticky residue, so you can fit the cable to the outside of the car or the inside of the car so it isn't flapping around like a cock in the wind, and you're not going to damage your client's car or yours and leave sticky shit everywhere. Right, now this is everything you need. I'll show you how to set it up. So now what you should have done is put your microphone holder onto the suction mount, slid your microphone in, put the dead cat or foil wind protector on, and before you mount it to the car, wipe down the surface where you want to stick it to get rid of any dust or debris that could affect the ability of the suction. Now, before you even touch the car, if it's a client's car or someone else's, always check with them, hey, I need to do this, can I? Or before you shoot, just tell them, this is what we may need to do. Is there something you need to bring to be able to do that on the day so your paintwork is not damaged? Okay, because the last thing you want is to be held liable. Once you've cleaned the surface, you want to mount the microphone around 30 centimeters from the exhaust, or you can just over a handspan. So you mount it to the rear bumper of the car, and you want to position it so it's facing just past the exhaust, not directly into it. So this is obviously for basic normal cars. If you're filming something like a Lambo or a Ferrari or some exotic car, it's going to be a little bit different, so you have to play with it on the day. But this is just for most cars. Next, you want to plug your cable in and run it along the side of the car or inside of the car, depending where you're running it, and tape it down carefully. Again, always checking with the client if it's not your car. Now you want to mount the microphone in the engine bay. You usually want to mount it near the intake so you can get those hectic intake sounds and also hear the engine sound as well. And if your car's turbo, well, of course you want to get that hectic turbo spool and dose. So I am actually lucky enough to have a hole where I can actually bolt it using the thread to the front radiator support panel, which is near the intake, which should pick up the intake noise and a bit of engine noise as well, along with the turbo spool as well. But if it doesn't work and I get too much wind noise, I will mount it here on the ABS module, which is near the turbo and wastegate, so I'm guaranteed to get that turbo spool. As you will find when you do it yourself, it is a bit of trial and error, but you will find a spot and it will sound awesome. Little point to note as well is with the microphone, don't get it too close to the exhaust. I always forget how hot this thing gets, so not as close. We're almost at the recording stage. So you've mounted your microphone in the engine bay, you've mounted it near the exhaust, where I said you're supposed to put it. You run your cables and you've secured them to the inside or the outside of the car securely and safely. Now we're up to the part where you mount your external recorder to the windscreen. Now guys, safety first. Quick disclaimer, do not use any electronic devices while driving. It is not recommended. Anyway, I digress. So you get your mount and your external recorder and you screw into the back. Now if your external recorder doesn't have one of these screws, then you're a bit screwed, but most of them do. Once you have screwed it together, it should look something like this. And now you're up to the stage where you mount it on the windscreen. This is literally personal preference, whether you're driving and adjusting, remember, naughty, or you're in the passenger seat and your client or someone else is driving and you're recording, recommended. So once you mount your recorder, what you want to do is go ahead and turn it on and turn on your cub. But before I go into that, as you can see, I've put this foam microphone protector on the top here because this is another input that you can use to record cabin sound if you want to. So what you want to do is go ahead and turn your car on. Once your car's on, you'll be able to see little bars going up and down, and that's your audio frequency. So using the gain indicators, you want to turn it down as much as you can before it stops reading, and that's to give us a baseline. Because if your car is really loud like this, you might turn it all the way down and leave it at that. You might be able to turn it up, but we can do that in the later process once we're out on the road. So you do it one by one, or you can do them together. It's up to personal preference. Go through and adjust them, and then move to your top one. I call it the cabin sound, the top input. And once you have that, we're ready to head out on the road. So when you start driving, you should be able to see all your little audio bars moving up and down as you accelerate and as you don't. So basically, what you want to do is once you're on an open stretch, you want to open it up a little bit and adjust from there. All right, so now I'm on a nice straight piece of road where I can safely accelerate a little bit and see how the audio levels go. Let's give it a crack. Not bad, not bad. So it doesn't go above halfway, and that's obviously not as loud as this car can go, but for a little bit more adjusting to bring it down a fraction, and we should be good to test it out properly now. All right, let's see how we go. So I got to open up a little bit, and the bars didn't actually look too bad. So they went a little bit above halfway, so you could probably dial them down a little bit. But one point to note is with certain microphones, the gain can only go down so much. So with these, the microphones I'm running in this audio recorder, you can't really go down below the number 2. But when it's safe to do so again, we'll do another test, and then I think that should give us, well, what we need to know. According to the audio bars, it seems to pick up the dose and that, but when we bring it on gate, I'm not sure how it's going to go. There's a bit of a tunnel coming up, so we'll see what it sounds like. Oh, that was mad. I wasn't watching the bars if I'm honest, but it sounded good. It sounded good. Let's see how we go again. We'll do it nice and slow, then we'll ease our way on. Alright, I think we've got enough information now. That's essentially the basics for recording good car, engine and exhaust audio. Now there are a few things I did not mention and are worth taking note on. In one of the shots you could see a cord hanging down. That was a cord to headphones. It's definitely worth using headphones because those indicators are great, but nothing beats hearing what you're actually recording. And with that, If you're adjusting and it doesn't seem to sound right, or it's peaking, like in some of those exhaust clips I had, they peaked a little bit, maybe it could be the positioning of your microphone. So you may have to test and adjust. Maybe it's a little bit too direct into the exhaust, or maybe you have to move it around. That's just part of the game. And the audio clips that I showed you or that you listened to, they are just in a Premiere Pro sequence. They haven't been properly mixed. But to get the most out of what you're recording, it is definitely worth mixing your audio together, which if you want me to, I can show you how to do that. But as you heard, having them just in Premiere Pro does sound good, but remember, if you want to get the most out of your audio and the highest quality video, mix your clips together so you can get them sounding as best as possible. One final point to note is, as I mentioned earlier, it's best to have someone drive for you so you can give your undivided attention, recording and adjusting everything that you need to ensure that the audio quality is there. Because unless you're recording a YouTube video on how to do it or yourself, you're probably not going to be doing it yourself. So most of the time you'll have someone driving for you, which is the best way to do it. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and it gave you some sort of educational value. Feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments or message me. And if there's any other tutorials you want me to do, whether it's audio based, gimbal or shots, anything to do with cars or content creation in general, let me know in the comment section and I'll make it for you. Thanks for watching.